Don't tell Mom, because the dog sitter's dead. This didn't happen to me. It happened to my sister. My sister moved up to SC from FL about a year ago, but she still visits us periodically. We're a big and close family. Shortly after Thanksgiving, she flew down with her husband and son for one such visit. She has 3 geriatric dogs, so she got a house dog sitter. MS, my sister, went through the basics of how they can only be fed at certain times. They get let out at certain times. They need to be in their crates from X hour to Z hour. Most importantly, they don't get treats. They get vitamins in place of treats, but those vitamins have to be given only twice a day. No people food. Very strict diets. They're all happy and healthy, but only because MS is so strict with their regime. This lady she got to watch her dogs had stellar reviews on the site she was found through. She's a stay-at-home mom who does this as a side thing for extra cash. I feel like I can end it here. You all can guess where this is going. MS left for Florida for a week. The first 5 days, everything is going well. DS, dog sitter, texts MS regularly or video calls. She shows MS pictures and gives her regular updates of when she comes and goes to MS's house. MS just bought that house, BTW. She's been working her butt off to finally be able to afford it. She put so much into making that a nice home for her family. MS has some health problems herself. She's got a ton of prescription medication in her medicine cabinet. She brought enough for the week, but left the rest at home. Stuff for epilepsy, asthma, and allergies. But she's also got a ton of painkillers from when she had my nephew not that long ago. She's paranoid about becoming addicted, so she kept the pills for safety, but never used them. It's a full bottle. On top of that, she's been a collector of rare beer for about 15 years now. Beer that's not even sold anymore because they were promotional from microbreweries. Beer she can't get anymore because she doesn't live in Florida. Those bottles she keeps as mostly decoration in her kitchen. On the 6th day of her vacation, DS stops all communication altogether. MS texts, calls, emails, nothing. Radio silence. She's got a bad feeling, but she doesn't want to kill the mood because she doesn't get to see her family very often anymore. Day 7, she gets on a late flight back to SC. The plane gets there around 2 in the morning. They drive an hour to their rural town. They get home. The front door is wide open. The lawn looks like someone in a truck, which DS happened to drive, just tried to go drifting over grass and a tree before vacating the premises super quick. MS goes to handle my nephew who is groggy and screaming. It's been a rough day. She's thinking the worst, that someone robbed the house while this poor lady was there. MS's husband, BAL, goes inside to survey the damages. It's all clear. Mississippi and nephew go inside too. The back door is wide open. The couch looks like it exploded. The rug in the living room and the couch, and pretty much every square foot on the bottom floor, is covered in the kind of pee and poop that can only be made from 3 geriatric furry buttholes. The dogs are, thankfully, still in the backyard, but they're shivering and filthy. There are broken beer bottles everywhere. Some have been stuffed deep in the trash to hide the evidence. Some have been refilled with water and put back with their tops precariously situated on top so they might look like they haven't been touched. 82 bottles, each growler-sized, roughly 64 ounces, gone. The medicine cabinet is like one of those western ghost towns with a tumbleweed bouncing through. MS is already thinking this DS threw herself a party. No way in heck could someone 5'6", 170 pounds, drink that much beer and take that many pills, and not be dead. MS called the cops, obviously. The police get there to figure this must be a break-in. They take a bunch of pictures, take an account of all the bottles and drugs that were missing. MS cleans what she can, but gets to sleep because thankfully the upstairs hasn't been touched. One day later, the police find DS. MS has assumed she's dead and abducted, so the police were looking for her and her car. They found the truck run off the side of a highway, with this lady about 2 miles up, tweaking out of her mind walking along the side of the road, screaming at nothing. They take her in for whatever charges. IDK, her husband, bails her out and picks her up. According to her husband, this has happened before. DS has a drug and alcohol problem. At first, she's messaging my sister, super apologetic, saying she'll reimburse MS and please don't press charges. MS quotes her the price of the rug, a new couch, and the vet bills because her dogs had somehow gained access to 9 containers of doggy vitamins, and one of them was having liver failure. The dog is fine now. but she's an old Yorkie, so who knows. Also, Mississippi buys in bulk from a wholesaler, hence 9 containers. The total was somewhere around $800. MS didn't bother with the beers, the meds, the lawn, cleaning the house. She could have. Heck, I would have. On top of that, Mississippi demanded DS never dog sit again, and she had to refund MS for her dog sitting. MS works in advertising. I won't say what kind, but basically, if she sees DS advertising herself as a dog sitter ever again, she has the means to drag this lady until all she sees is mud for the rest of her life. DS insists she'd gonna pay it back, but that MS has to wait until they get their taxes back. So MS waits. Late February, she texts DS asking where her money is. DS immediately starts saying how she didn't do anything wrong. Mississippi is a bad dog owner and her dogs are miserable. None of the stuff MS says DS did was actually done. MS has all the old texts of DS admitting to all of it, so this goes on for a while. Eventually, DS starts saying how, as a courtesy, she has a friend who owns a furniture store. She will give MS a credit of $200 for a new couch. And she has an old rug she doesn't want anymore that MS can have. What? She paid MS about $500, but insists she'll get the coupon to MS soon. March goes by. Nothing. Around March 20th, Mississippi marches her happy butt to the small claims court and files. Then she snaps pictures of everything. Then she sends DS the message. As a courtesy, I'm letting you know that I just filed this at the small claims court. Then the fun starts. This lady goes off on MS. She says she's going to sue for slander and undue distress and harassment and blah 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 blah. Then the fun starts. This lady goes off on MS. She says she's going to sue for slander and undue distress and harassment and blah 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 blah. MS saves all of it, including the fun bits where DS threatens her family and calls her the C word 20 dozen times. Today is what, April 6th? Tuesday was the court date. Things move fast in a small town, IDK. This lady shows up looking like she just got run through by a garbage disposal. She gives the judge her sob story, talking about how she did nothing but give MS and her animals the best care. That MS is making all this up. Yeah. MS has the OG cop with her. She's got pictures of all the damage, the vet bills, the bottles, proof that she was out of town, police reports of both the break-in, as well as DS's DWI the following day. DS tries to spin it with that one law about how you can't serve alcohol to a known alcoholic. That obviously gets thrown right TF out. DS then tries to appeal to Judge and MS's sense of humanity. She tells them how her husband just left her and is suing her for full custody. Good. And that if she can't dog sit, how is she supposed to support herself or ever get her kids back? Tough cookies. The judge takes my sister's side, for obvious reason. Come TF on. DS is homeless now, living with her parents. She can't see her kids, who BTW don't want to see her. Apparently she was a drunk who ran her hubby's credit all the way down. She was abusive to her kids. And because of her heavy alcohol abuse, one of her kids has FAS. DS has 60 days to pay the remaining $300, or she faces jail time. IDK how much time, sorry. Her husband filed for divorce already. Oh, and she lost her license thanks to that DWI. As a former addict myself and someone who's been through a DWI, I want to sympathize. That's a lot of stuff to go through. MS gave her chance after chance, but at some point you have to take responsibility for your actions. It really seems like this lady has just been using her husband as a crutch while she tries to get better, only to backslide hard. It's rough, I know. I hope she gets the help she needs. MS's dogs are doing well. She got a replacement couch on Amazon for like $75 and a nice fluffy rug for even less. DS eventually coughed up that coupon. It didn't even work. It was for something like 20% off with a purchase of $500 or more, so, no thanks.